Hey everybody, time for another flea market find segment. This is actually, technically this is an estate sale, and it wasn't the kind of estate sale where they were liquidating the entire contents of the house. This was an estate sale. It's a unique situation where an individual was having his basement workshop liquidated for him by his son-in-law. So I was in contact with the son-in-law, and the son-in-law doesn't live around here. So it was one of these situations where he put up a Craigslist listing with some photographs and prices and asking prices. And the biggest item that they had there was they have a milling machine. It's a I forgot what brand it is, but it's an off-brand mill clone of a Bridgeport, and they were asking, I believe, $10,000 on that. And there's a lathe there, which is, I forgot what the lathe is, either an MSC or an Enco or something along those lines there. And the lathe also is like $6,000 or $8,000. And there were some other items there, but for the most part, the prices were not going to be anything, made me think that this wasn't anything I was going to be interested in. But it was only 2 towns over from me. And I noticed after a few weeks that, the listing was still up. So I said, just for the heck of it, I'll take a ride out there and take a look and see if there's anything that's not in the photos or whatever that I would be interested in. And also whether or not there was any bargaining room available. So I made an appointment to go there, and I ended up spending the afternoon there digging through things, pulling out things, researching some pricing to get an idea on fair offers that I could make. Was in communication through text, texting photos back and forth and other information back and forth with the son-in-law. And finally, at the end of the day, what was decided was that I would put together a pile, and we'd go from there. So this was kind of an interesting situation, and this is one of the situations where I had already burned, all afternoon there doing all of this legwork as far as putting things together, researching things, finding pieces that belong together and bringing them back together, and I'll show you an example of that in a moment. And then when we got down to brass tacks, so to speak, we went back and forth, and he understood that the market value of some of the stuff that I was buying was higher than what I was offering, but he also understood that he was in no position to go through an eBay listing type situation. And the main objective was to liquidate the items without giving away the farm, so to speak. So I gave, on some of these things I got really good deals on, especially from the standpoint of me being the end user. And then some of these things I got such good deals on that I could turn around and sell some of them tomorrow and make money on them if I wanted to. But that's not what my intent was on most of these items. So I think when all was said and done, this haul ended up being $430, which is the largest amount I've spent on one of these sales in quite a while. If I can't remember the last time. Well, of course, the Wells Index was the big buy, and that came with all those parts and everything. But since then, I don't recall spending that much in one spot. And it's not something I was comfortable doing, but it was something that I just felt that, well, these are items that I think I could use down the road, or turn around and trade with somebody to get other items that I want. There's ample things there. So put together the pile, and I think we ended up going back and forth and finally settling on $430. So let's dive right in. Machinery's Handbook 24th edition. I grabbed this because I couldn't remember whether or not I have the Machinist's Handbook or the Machinery Handbook. Alright, so it turns out I've got the Machinery's Handbook 19th edition. So unfortunately, I really don't need this. This is also in good shape, and I don't know which one I'll keep. 19th to the 24th edition is probably virtually nothing changed in those years. And I kind of like this older one because the condition is actually really good for its age. So I'll probably put this one, this one will be in the trade or sell pile. In my mind, I gave 10 bucks for this. And I think that these trade for around 20 to 30 bucks on eBay right now. So, listing fees and everything, the time and trouble of shipping and everything, I think $10 was a fair offer for both of us. Alright, so just for giggles, I think as I go along here, I'm going to keep a running tally of what I figure I gave on each of these items. Because I had actually made a sheet and figured out what I wanted for everything, came up with a total, and then discounted that total because of the fact that I was taking so much stuff and helping them liquidate so much. So we'll put $10 for the book on there. There were several toolboxes in the room. None of them were Kennedy's except for one large base cabinet Kennedy, almost like a workbench, had a butcher block top to it, Kennedy. I think they wanted $800 for that, so I didn't need that. So, but looking through various toolboxes and that, I found these hole gauges. These are Mitutoyo. But what I found was I found this pack. I found a couple of hole gauges in here. Then I went and I found in various drawers here and there the occasional hole gauge. I found 3 different brands of hole gauge there. I found a cheap knockoff brand, the Mitutoyos, and a unidentified brand, which there was only 1 or 2 of those. So what I did was I fished out all the Mitutoyos and put them in this holder. So I don't think this is going to be a complete set, but I figured, well, at least I got quite a few. I don't know how many is supposed to be in here, but so these are all Mitutoyos, and most people will tell you that Starrett is #1 when it comes to something like this, but they would probably put a respectable runner-up Mitutoyo. So, I have to wonder how the heck... Oh, alright. The sizes are on here. So if I put... So just give me a moment to figure out what I'm doing here. Alright, well I just looked at them, and they're not marked by the size range. They're marked with letters. So the smallest is a double A, and then we have A, and then I have a duplicate A, B, C, D, and E. So if I take the duplicate out, which I noticed the handle on this one looks like it's almost unused with no grease on it from dirty hands. So that set that came out of was lightly used, and that's now going to be an extra. So these all seem to go together. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 labels on the thing here, so it looks like we've got a full set. Alright guys, and when properly stored, this is what the set looks like. I just went from largest to smallest with the size range, and they do fit nicely that way. They're not really impinging on each other this way. So alright, so that's a dirty plastic set of hole gauges, but the actual gauges themselves are the snap gauges themselves. All of them are in excellent condition except for this one right here has some surface rust or discoloration on it, but it still moves freely, so that's a good usable set. I don't recall, but if I don't have a Starrett set like that, then that's probably going to be a keeper. So I think I figure I gave 15 bucks for that. Here's an example of something that I had to fish around to find some of the components. This is a cheap, made in Taiwan it says, so this is a cheap Enco or something like that. Collet block set, I think is what they call this. But at first I think I found one of these, then I found the other one. And then it was later on, like in a completely different area of the workshop, where I spotted this, and as luck would have it, I quickly recognized, oh, I know what that is. That's the part for this set. So the only thing I think missing from this set is typically this would come in a wooden box where these 3 items would store like this, and unfortunately I looked and I didn't find it anywhere. So let me just grab one of my 5C collets for those of you who don't know what this is. Essentially this is for on your mill. It's made to take 5C collets, and what you do is you put your collet in, and then this screws onto the back of the collet. And of course, as you whatever you have in there, as you tighten this, it's going to draw the collet in and clamp down on whatever's in there. So, say you have a piece of round stock in this collet, and you want to cut 4 flats on it, all 90 degrees from each other. Well, now you've got these 4 90-degree surfaces, so you can literally put this right down in your vise, mill a flat on one side, unclamp it, flip it, mill, flip it, mill, and real easy way to do a 4-sided, any operation that's going to be on 4 sides on something that you can clamp and up to whatever size you want that will fit. Of course, you're only limited by the size of the collet. And then this one here gives you a 6-sided. So if you want to do a 6-sided operation on something, you can use this block. And this set, I think brand new, this set is like $35 or something like that. It's not very valuable, but I wanted one, so I valued that at $5. No, I think I probably valued that more like at 10, because I think I saw one of these at the flea market once in the case for 20 bucks and considered offering 15 for it and passed on it. And then when I went back, that's one of the ones that I go to a lot. When I went back, he had sold it, and I kind of regretted not buying it at that point. So I think, to me, in my mind, 10 bucks was a really good deal for this. There was a Craftsman toolbox there, a mechanic's toolbox, and one of the small slide-out drawers was just packed with what I initially thought were maybe packings, but I'm gonna take a closer look at these right now. What's in this box is I emptied out the entire contents of that drawer, and I also found another spot that had a whole bunch of these. And so what's in here are these things here. But I think now that these plates actually are for on a machinist vise, and I think these holes are actually on there so that they can be bolted in place on the vise behind the jaws, maybe. I'm not positive. Boy, that one's really dirty and oily for some reason. The rest of these aren't like that. The majority of these aren't. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a moment just to sort these real quick, because I'm looking at a lot of these say things on them. I see Taiwan stamped on some. I see Made in China stamped on others. And what I'd really love to see is I'd love to see Kurt on any of these, but I don't think I'm going to get that lucky. Well, guys, I got 3 categories of these kind of spacers here. I've got these ones here that are marked lightly, and they say Taiwan on them. And then I got this group right here, which I could find no markings on. And then I got this group right here, which has only 2 holes in each one that are marked China. And the China ones, looks like a lot of them, they actually took the trouble of actually marking the size. So that's 1 1/8, 1 inch. The rest of these I can't find any markings on size, so I'm assuming you're just supposed to, measure them as you go or figure out what you're going to use. So I had mentioned I was hoping that there'd be some Kurt ones in here somewhere. Now, is it possible that a Kurt kit for these would come with Chinese made or unmarked ones? I kind of doubt it. The reason why I was hoping that I would find a bunch of Kurt ones was because I found this box there. It was empty. Kurt is the premium vise manufacturer, and this to me looks like it's a box for holding these kind of things for your Kurt vise. So unfortunately I got the box and I got all these, and I didn't look through them that closely, but I still figured I'd be able to maybe use them at some point down the road. So I figure I valued the whole shebang here at 10 bucks. And we'll just call these spacers for now. Now I don't know if these are supposed to all be matched or what, because I've got, just double check here, but this is an odd one, single. Yeah, that's a little bit wider than that one. So I got these two odd ones, and then I've got a pair, and I've got 3 of these. Oh, wait a minute. I think I just solved the mystery here. I thought these were all the same height. Nope. That's a pair. There we go. There's a pair. There is an errant drill mark right there. That's a dead giveaway that these were used in a vise. Alright. So this would be a fairly complete set, except for I'm missing one of these and one of these. Let's see if that's in here and I just mixed it up with them. Now see, these unmarked ones are thinner. Oh, this is a thick one. Bet you this one's marked China and I just didn't see it. There's this one's, buddy. Pretty good. Just missing that one. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. This one. Ah! Still in the box. Cool. Bet you that's a complete set. There we go. Okay, that's the Chinese ones. I really should find a box for those. Keep them together. So these unmarked ones, got 4 of this exact size. These are in really good shape actually. Unlike the other ones, they don't have any nicks or miscued drill marks or anything in them. Looks like these were used a lot less. But 4 of this size, 3 of this size, which makes me think that one of these is missing, and then 4 of this size. Looks like the Chinese set's almost a full set, except for this one. I only have one of these. Other than that, pretty good. Picking through the toolboxes that were there, there was one toolbox that a lot of the drawers had quite a few end mills in there. And most of the end mills in there were high-speed steel or high-speed steel coated with that gold coating. I forgot what that coating is, but that's supposed to help the bits last. But amongst that, I did find this one carbide mill. You can tell by the weight that that's a carbide. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's an 8-flute carbide mill. And it looks to be in very good shape. So I see just a couple of little chips. Anyways, that was kind of like probably just a gimme that went with a bunch of other little things, including these indexable end mills. These are the end mills that you actually put a carbide insert in here and clamp it down. And I'm not sure who the makers are on these, but I grabbed all the ones he had. That one's clearly been used. It's a little rough, but it's not broken. This one looks like it was crashed at one point, maybe, but it actually looks like it may not have gotten as much use as the other one, and is a different maker by the looks of it. This is a 3, so you get 3 inserts on that one. That one's just 2. Here's a small one that's a 2 insert one, but it looks like the little screws that hold the little clamps on are snapped off in the holes and the little clamps are missing. So that might be pretty much, this is an H.R. Rouse H13445. That's probably garbage. And then there's this one here. This one is similar to that one, but this one is not broken. This is a 1-inch. It just says France on it, I think. And then I found a deburring tool with 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra tips in the handle. Lots of times it seems like when I find these, the handle's missing. This one not only had the cap, but it had more in there. And this is another one of these. I think it's another one of these. Pull this thing. Yeah, this is a neat ratcheting effect on this one. It's a little different than the other ones I have. Who makes this one? This is a Vargas. Vargas. What do you do, Vargas? You don't drink, you don't smoke. What do you do, Vargas? Alright, that is my obscure quote for this video. Please add a comment when you know what that quote is from. Because of the Carbide end mill and these little the deburring tool, which are probably usable, and then these are kind of questionable, well, let's call that 10 bucks. Alright, spotted this square. This is a shop-made square. I haven't checked it yet, but it's a nice size, and it wasn't all bent up, so I figured I'd pop 5 bucks on that. Just assume it's shop made because there's no markings whatsoever on it. Just looks shop made. I found there was 2 angle plates there. One was a larger angle plate, and I figured that was going to be more money than I wanted to bother spending on an angle plate at this point, only because I now have 2 large angle plates. But I saw this little mini one here, and I figured that this was not a shop-made one because the way it's got this coating on it. I couldn't find a name on it, but I'm leaning towards thinking it's Taiwan, Chinese, Enco, whatever type of deal. And this one, yeah, I don't see any markings on it. It's got one little damage right here where you know, the end mill came and hit the back of it. He was probably coming to make a pass again and didn't realize that the end mill had slid out of his collet or something. And anyways, I don't even remember what I figured I gave for this. But even a no-name angle plate, this is a nice small one. If I don't want to haul out the big one because of the weight or whatever, I can grab this little one. So that's why I kind of like the idea of having that. So let's say that's 10 bucks. And then I'm just going to mark it down while I have it right here, this drill index. Drill index for 5 bucks. $5 for a drill index, a big one like that, you say? Well, yeah, because it's empty. Yeah, unfortunately, what ended up happening was I spotted this drill index. I was like, oh, nice drill index. You know, open it up, and I'm like, oh, it's completely empty. They took every drill bit out of here. But then I looked at it and I realized it's a HOT, or HOT, or what do you call this? What's that name? It's on here somewhere. Let's get the chart. I know I saw the name on here. Alright, am I losing my mind? Here it is on the back. Kind of hard to see it, but... oh yeah, it's in the very bottom, stamped at the bottom, so it's backwards on the... H-U-O-T, made in USA. HOT, 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 HOT. Yep. Anyways, so this is a nice drill index. This company makes pretty good stuff, and why this isn't closing now? Oh, I see, because this is supposed to. Maybe not. Hold on. Can't figure out how this goes. I don't know what this clip is for up here. Anybody know what this clip is for? It's obviously supposed to be there. But there must be a certain position that it goes in within this will close. See, it's not closing correctly. You can see all the marks here where obviously that's been a recurring problem. This doesn't open all the way, so... well, it doesn't look to me like there's any way possible that this is going to close with that there. Maybe that has to be bent down. There we go. Don't ask me why that's like that. I don't know. So I gave $5 for this because I figure I can load it. It's funny, I just saw one of these at the used tool store yesterday when I was there, and it was loaded with the gold-coated drill bits, except for some of the really small ones, and I don't think it was even as nice a one as this. I think it was missing this whole part up here, or didn't have this part. Or maybe it did. I don't know. But anyways, he had 95 bucks on it. So, I think it was all new drill bits, or almost new. Well, my tally's up to 75, so right about now you're probably wondering, well, why are you going to get up to that 430 you paid? Well, let's put a little more meat on the bone. On the back of the lathe, there was a rack there, and I spotted on the rack, I spotted this nice, this is a Jacobs ball bearing chuck, super ball bearing, model. This is a model 14N, so this is up to 1/2 inch capacity. Jaws on it are good, works nice and freely on an R8 Collet. Should have been over with the milling machine, but there wasn't a rack over there by the milling machine. I don't know why, but the milling machine was in its own room and didn't have much tooling with it. So this obviously wasn't supposed to be with the lathe, and he was willing to part with it, so I want to say I gave 15 bucks for that. And then the other thing I spotted up there, again with an R8 collar on it, was a boring head. And that was one of the things on my wish list, was a boring head. Now, I had just picked up a boring head. No, I hadn't picked up I didn't have any boring heads up until this. This is my first boring head. So, couldn't find any bits around there to go in it. And I wasn't able to test it while I was there. But I had no idea who made this, because all I could find on here was BHR 8-4 APT USA. Well, come to find out, what this is, you know, the Criterions are a dead giveaway, because they've got that two-tone black and silver. But then you got to watch out, because the knockoffs now are copying the black and silver. So the cheap Chinese ones are black and silver too. This is APT. This is an actual US-made, cheaper alternative to the Criterion boring head. And I went online and checked, and actually it's got pretty rave reviews, and I think you can still buy these on Amazon. So I want to say I gave 25 bucks for this, because it's not a Criterion. But it's in excellent shape by the looks of it. Then these two big adjustable reamers, which are also in excellent condition, I found these laying around. They were actually out on the floor already, so I don't know if somebody had pulled these out and was thinking of maybe taking them and then decided not to put together an offer or what. But anyways, these, I wouldn't have bought these separately, but when it came down to crunch time and I was just putting together a pile, I just put these in the pile, because I knew they wouldn't make much of a difference to the number that we were talking about. I didn't even look at these. These are HP 3.25 to 38. That must be it's made in Taiwan. That must be a metric one. Must be millimeters. This one's looks like maybe 30 to 46. Again, must be a couple of metric adjustable reamers. So these are the first metric reamers I have. And quite frankly, who cares if they're metric? I mean, why can't you just adjust them and mic the outside diameter, right? I don't know. Call me crazy, but I think that's what you could do if you wanted to. Oh, so the reamers. What did I give for the reamers? 10 bucks for the pair, because I really didn't care about them. But they are nice big ones, and they are in excellent shape. So they got to be worth 5 bucks a piece, right? Alright, we're up to 125. So I look up on a couple of wooden shelves that are up off to the side there, and they're completely empty, or so I thought. And what was sitting on the bottom shelf was kind of low profile, so I didn't spot it right away, was this box. And I was like, oh, okay. And this was one of the first items that I spotted, actually, and actually called and tried to get a price out of them on. But we went back and forth, and we had trouble deciding on what to settle on for this. So in the end, when we came down to brass tacks and I put the pile together, I added this back into the pile. So he knew that this was part of the deal also. So this is a Starrett catalog number 823F inside micrometer, 1.5 inch to 32 inch range, 2 heads, 1/2 inch and 1 inch movement. So I'm not positive for sure, but I think, well, there's the 2 heads, and then all of these other things are full, but there's something missing here, but this might just be an adjustment wrench. And then there's this little tiny cone that screws on the end of, well, it looks like it would screw on the end of one of these rods. Anyways, looks like a fairly complete set, and I looked this up online, and this is actually a pretty expensive set. And I think that within the past like month and a half, I think Keith Rucker was showing off his purchase of one of these from a tool store. I think he had a whole story about going out to the West Coast and meeting with one of his internet buddies there, another YouTuber who, you know, took him to a secret garden, and there were magical elves that were, you know, bringing out all kinds of used tools. And anyways, he bought one of these. I forgot what he ended up paying. I don't know if it was this exact same set. I don't remember what he ended up paying for it. He might not even disclose that. I know he didn't want to disclose where it was because that was part of the deal. It was a magical secret kingdom of used tools. So this right here, I think I only ended up giving him what was equivalent of about $30 for this. So I'm pretty sure I got a really good deal on that. I think I may have even bested Mr. Rucker with that one. His might have been in even better shape than this one. See this box, somebody went to clean it and kind of did a number on the Starrett logo there, but hey, you know, such is life. 155, we're getting closer. Alright, now for a bigger ticket item. Initially I tried to make a deal on this, and again it ended up being something I added in back at the end, because I wasn't quite sure whether or not I even wanted this. You know, and you might think, well, why the heck wouldn't you want this? Well, way back when I bought the Wells Index milling machine, in the cabinet there, it came with a rotary table, and it's just like a phase 2 or a cheap Taiwanese job, but it's in excellent shape. All right, so there's my rotary table that came as a freebie, so to speak, or was included in the mill deal. So I, you know, factored it in when I was deciding what I wanted to pay for the mill. So this is an 8-inch rotary table. This is a no-name. There's a casting mark of N308. I think it says NO number 308. And I think by that I was able to determine that this, I think, was bought like out of the Enco catalog. So it's a kind of like a cheapy. Well, not kind of like, it is. It's a cheapy rotary table. I think this is probably like $125 for this size, brand new, or 150, somewhere around there. I honestly forget. I might be completely wrong on that. This is kind of neat. This has got 3 handles, so this has got X and Y axis, and then also the rotary function. So that is something that this one on the bottom doesn't have. What the bottom one's got going for it, though, is the bottom one is clearly marked right here. It's a Palmgren. Palmgren makes some decent vices and other things. So it's not, what's Troika, I think, is the big high-end table, I guess, the more expensive table you tend to see. But for a home hobby machinist like myself, this is plenty good. And so my dilemma now is whether or not I keep both tables, because I'd love to turn one of these back into money, and maybe something else that I can use better. So this is a 10-inch, so it's a larger size. It's got the T-slots, and it's got the rotary function, and it's horizontal vertical. In other words, it's got these on the side here, so we can mount this like that if we want to, okay, on the mill table. So it's got that going for it. But it doesn't have the XY fine adjustment that this one does. But this one is strictly horizontal. This is not a horizontal vertical table. And also, you notice it's got more height. So if you had a really tall piece, not that I think I'm going to have anything that tall on something this on a table this small, but you never know. It's lower profile, and quite frankly, if you've got it on the mill table, do you really need the XY adjustment? I mean, I guess because it's a fine XY adjustment, and especially, I don't have one, but especially if down the road, if I put a DRO on my table, then I'm really not going to probably care about this feature. So I think I'm going to keep the 10-inch pong run, and I think I'm going to put the 8-inch Enco up for sale. So I figured I gave $75 for this rotary table. I think I'm okay there based on what I've seen these sell for online. Oh, you know what? To make the math easy, why don't we say I got a hell of a deal on this thing, and I got it for $45. Because that makes it an even 200.